crush, or maybe even just a regular crush, when you first start becoming infatuated with the person, you just can't see any flaws. This phase is what we like to call the honeymoon phase, and I have this problem, but not with a person, rather with a video game, and the honeymoon phase hasn't ended for the past 9 years of my life. True life. I think I'm in love with a video game.
The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker was released in 2002 for the Nintendo GameCube. Origin story. Yay, everybody loves a good origin story, right? So I never played this, or any other Nintendo games for that matter, till about 2005 when my older sister started dating a guy who liked video games and convinced me to branch away from my PlayStation loyalty. This is how I discovered a lot of games, but more importantly, the Zelda franchise. Starting with this underrated gem that we like to call Wind Waker. Unless you're some sort of magical fetus thing, you've probably lived through the history of this one. Basically, Ocarina of Time fanboys got pissy when they decided to utilize cel-shaded graphics for Wind Waker. But Wind Waker put on its brass knuckles, or should I say, power bracelets, and slapped the critics in the face. I first played Wind Waker at a young age, but I never got past the Tower of the Gods because, being a stupid kid, I couldn't figure out the puzzles without my sister's boyfriend helping me. And not to spoil the plot of this story, but they broke up. Try to contain your emotions, guys. I know it's gonna be hard, but things get better, I promise. So I never finished Wind Waker. I actually lost the disc after moving, so yay, organization! So hop on the story train, and we're gonna fast forward to a few weeks ago. I'd been saving up my money for a while so I could buy myself a Wii U for when Smash Bros. Came out. I finally had enough money a few weeks back, and I decided that since Wind Waker HD was a thing, I'd buy that Wii U a little bit early and give that old game another try. And let me tell you, that was one of the best decisions I've made this year. I'm here a couple weeks after beating the game and recording this video, and I'm still pretty much in awe of what I experienced while I was playing Wind Waker HD. Now you may be sitting there thinking, yigs, I'm not paying $60 for an HD remake of a game that I probably already have somewhere in a box. Well, you should shut up for a second and let me talk, because this game is good on its own, but also as an HD remake. Just let me explain, okay? Things work better when I do that. Something that the Wind Waker HD did really well was taking an already fantastic game and improving on the weak points. Did you not have the patience of going through the whole Triforce Shard mission again? Wind Waker HD shortened the hell out of that. Were you annoyed at having to aim weapons in first-person view with a GameCube controller? Well, Wind Waker HD gives you the option of using the gamepad, which offers very precise gyroscopic aiming. And thankfully, Nintendo has fixed one of the biggest problems the original Wind Waker had. After all, what good is a Pictobox without a few selfies?
But first, let me take a selfie.
So back on the topic of that little thing we like to call the Wii U gamepad. Honestly guys, before I got a Wii U, I thought this thing was stupid. I didn't get why you would want to use an iPad to control a game. But now that I've used it, I wouldn't really go back to a traditional controller for the Wii U, because especially with this game, it's super well integrated. And you'll see what I mean in a second.
Using the gamepad is only one option. You can also use the Pro Controller if you're a purist about Wind Waker, but if you're like me, you'll use the Wii U gamepad, which exponentially improves the overall experience and pace of Wind Waker HD. In the original, the player had to pause the game to equip items and check on the C-maps. But in Wind Waker HD, the player can use the gamepad to equip items and navigate the map while playing. In other words, pausing is no longer necessary. It sounds like a minute detail, but it improves the gameplay a lot. Gone are the days where you were taken out of the atmosphere of the game to make sure that your Deku Leaf was in the right spot, or figuring out where the island you were headed to was. Now it feels like an immersive adventure of epic proportions, even more so than the original. That's saying a lot, by the way, since the original GameCube Wind Waker kicked major ass. Some people complain about the HD making the game too bright, but honestly, I didn't experience any lighting-related annoyances. I didn't even think about it till I saw what other people had to say about the game. While Wind Waker HD certainly isn't the same aesthetically as the original, it doesn't totally butcher the art style. The colors of the characters and the environments in this game still look great. The Tingle Tuner from the original game has been replaced by the optional Tingle Bottle, which lets you send all your hashtag selfies to other players to find during their adventures and vice versa. Sometimes people are really nice and send out useful stuff with the Tingle bottles that can be used for the Nintendo Gallery by the Forest Haven, but more often than not, they're just puns of sorts. Like I said, the bottles are optional, but it's definitely a cool concept.
Now, let's take a minute to address the game's story.
Wind Waker just gets me. In a way that many people feel so enamored by Ocarina of Time and its story, Wind Waker just totally captivated me. It's the fantastic soundtrack, the pure adventure of sailing along the Great Sea, the charming characters, and of course, the epic story. Anyone who says sailing is redundant and boring can shut their filthy mouths because there is a ballad of winds to solve your saltiness. For those who do enjoy voyages along the Great Sea, this game is just bliss. What's not to love about seeing a mysterious silhouette of an island in the distance and finally discovering what's on it? From the second I left Outset Island, I was hooked on the sense of adventure that this game provides.
Mind you, I am aware that this game is over a decade old, but I thoroughly encourage you to try it out. You get the gist. It's obviously, similar to other Zelda game plots where you got Ganon and Zelda and Link and all the shenanigans that go along with that. But there's also, this story, man.
It lives up to its legend title by literally starting off by telling a very familiar legend of the hero of time and what happened to Hyrule. The intro is simple but brilliant. I seriously can't find a flaw in this game. I know some people complain about the fact that there aren't enough dungeons, but I actually like that aspect of it. It gives you more time for adventuring, which when you think about it, is what the Zelda franchise has been all about from the very beginning. Since there weren't an overwhelming amount of dungeons, going into a new one felt like a nice change of pace from the usual sailing. As a result, the dungeons felt more like a fun challenge than a chore, which is the vibe that I got from them in some of the other Zelda titles.
If you want to have a bunch of dungeons to play through, go ahead and take Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess and have yourself a merry old time. I will be relaxing in my private oasis along the Great Sea. So overall, I think that Wind Waker HD is an excellent game that does a great job of respecting its older brother while also improving on it as well. Would I recommend this to anyone? Hell yeah, I would. Honestly, in my opinion, this is the definitive Wind Waker experience. Just because of all the improvements they made with the gamepad, it makes it so much easier. The Swift Sail really helps out. The shortened Triforce mission really makes it more enjoyable to play overall. After playing through both games all the way through, I can honestly say that while the first one is really great and probably one of my favorite Zelda games and games in general of all time, the second one is also pretty kick-ass and it made a lot of improvements that I just can't go back after having them. This is one of those games that I wish that I could play for the first time again so that I could experience the wonder of it all just from the start. I don't know, it's just so magical to me. You guys should play it. Wind Waker HD, that's a good game. Good game, right? Yeah? I think so. Okay, so I'm done talking about my weird Wind Waker obsession. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a wondrous day. See, now we're using this as the menu, but if we really wanted to, we could do a little bit of this. And now, boom, full game. Look at that shit. Whee! It's pretty fucking awesome, isn't it? Just saying.